What's up, y'all? It's your girl Nick Robinson again with the Yara Effect. We're going to talk about family relationships and adding security to your family's relationships. That's your parent, parent child, siblings, cousins, whoever you interact with as your family. Now, we talked about how a woman can bring security to her relationship with a man. We talked about how a man can bring relationship security to their woman. And now we're going to talk about the basis of where relationships form, which is the family. It's so important to understand the family dynamic and understand how your being raised impacts you for your whole life, all the way into adulthood, sometimes until we leave this earth. Family relationships are tough sometimes. They really are. You just have a lot of different people who have issues before they become parents. I mean, we all have things that we've gone through, and when we don't work through our issues, we make them issues of the family, of the children, and it just keeps passing down until somebody's brave enough to address it and deal with it. So, but in my opinion, there are three foundational things in family relationships that are needed to add that cohesiveness, to add that security. I mean, because when you are in a family dynamic and you don't feel secure, it's just, especially as a child, it's just really rocks the foundation of who you are. And so the three things that I feel are definitely needed to make a family relationship feel secure are love, transparency, and grace. Love, transparency, and grace. So, of course, love. It's kind of like, how can you be in a family unit without love and it be functional? I mean, because love will keep you from saying a lot of things, it'll keep you from doing a lot of things to each other. Love unconditionally. Unconditionally. I know as a parent, sometimes we have a viewpoint of how we want our children to act, how we want them to be, how we want them to look. And when they start developing their own personalities and who they are, it may be contrary to what we dream for them, it may be contrary to what we want for them. You still gotta love them though. I mean, like, you may not like some traits, you may not always like your child. I mean, like, let's be honest, sometimes the kids can be kids and they get on your nerves and all of that, but you know, at the core, you should still love them unconditionally for who they are. And that can be a challenge sometimes. I hate to say it. It's an unpopular truth that we don't like to speak about when we talk about parenthood, but it is. And I mean, and it doesn't matter how old you get in the parentage. Um, I don't care if you the parent and you 80 and the child 60. I mean, you still the parent in the dynamic and you have to make it right. I mean, like, none of us are perfect parents. None of us. There's going to be times where we've made mistakes. There's going to be times where we unintentionally hurt our children, and we have to acknowledge that, and with love, we can work through it. I mean, you have to know that your children need your love. They need your acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Because with the love comes the acceptance, and we cannot forego that. We are raising these children to go out into the world one day and function, and we want to do our best to make sure that they succeed. And I think, especially in the black community, we don't think about the mental health of ourselves, of our children. We're so many times in survival mode that we don't take the time to say, am I really loving my children the way I need to? I may provide for them, I may, protect them, of course, but I need to check in on the love. you know there's been times where there have been parents and children estranged, estranged because of whatever's happened. The parent wasn't there for whatever reason, or the parent was there but they weren't present. You know what I mean? They weren't really engaged in the raising of the children. They weren't really, you know just whatever was going on in their lives kind of clouded them raising the children. The children feel like they didn't get what they needed, whatever it is. you know love goes a long way though, because I feel like we're programmed as people to just love our parents. You see all these shows where people are trying to find their biological mother, their biological father, because even if they don't know them, they still want to know them. Even if they don't, understand what happened, they still love them. That's what keeps them looking for them. You see parents who've lost track of their children who want to find them. I mean, I think that in essence, it's just in our genetic makeup. When we have a child, when we have parents, we just love them. And a lot of times it may not look like love because there's hurt there, there's pain there, there's disappointment there or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's still love. But we have to make sure we express that love. You know what I mean? Every child is different. You may have 10 children, same mom, same dad, and they still are completely different. Period. So you have to get in tune with, as a parent, how do I make sure that this child is loved and feels the love and sees it? How do I make sure that this child, I mean, because my daughters, they're completely different. If one say cat, the other say dog. If one is hot, the other is cold. I mean, like one moving slow, the other moving fast. I mean, I just used to be like, oh my goodness. But I had to try to meet them where they were and understand them. And as parents, we sometimes don't get that we have to do a better job with, checking in on the kids. It's not just about, oh, they just need to do what I say. That don't really work, especially with this generation of kids. It don't really work. When we were coming up, it was do what I say, don't ask me no questions, your feelings don't matter. These kids now, I feel, have taken on our trauma that we've passed on generation to generation to generation, and now we at a place where, as a people, we can't just keep passing it on. We got to deal with it. We have to. We got to get better because it's just different now. I don't know why it's different. It is different though, so we have to do something about it. The next thing that we want to talk about in the dynamic of family relationships is transparency. So many family secrets. Oh Lord, especially in our community. I can only talk about, my experience as a black girl because that's what I am. And you know, in our culture, there's this, we ain't gonna talk about it. We ain't gonna address it, we ain't gonna deal with it. Everybody, sitting here acting like everything is fine or acting like they don't see no problem or whatever. And it's just, we gotta do better, period. Transparency. Be honest about how you feel. If somebody did something to you, hurt you, or whatever, we should be in a place where we can talk about it. And I say talk, not fight about it, not physically fight, not hurt each other with words. We need to talk about it. If you, offended your sister or your brother by something that you did or said, you need to talk about it, because what happens is it just doesn't get dealt with. It festers. It just, and it creates this divide. It creates this divide. I tell my girls all the time that people in the world, especially today, they ain't gonna care about you. They're not gonna give not one crap about you. But you need to have a place where you can come and the people there love you, they accept you. You can get that love that you need. And I want it to be our family. That's always been my goal for my personal family, like for me, to make sure that my kids feel like if don't nobody else love them, I do. You know what I mean? If don't nobody else if no one else is gonna keep it 100 with them, I will. And that's within boundaries too, because I get that kids have a place. Kids do need to respect boundaries when it comes to certain things, and you can also be transparent about that and say, listen, I want you to be able to share your feelings, be open with me, but respectfully. You know what I mean? You can't just say any and everything to me and it's going to be okay. I'm not your friend. I'm not your sister. I'm your mom. So, being transparent to me also means when things are going on. Like, I know Sometimes when there's family issues, we we don't really, it's like some part of the family know and then some other part of the family don't know. It's like, I mean, I can see why some things don't need to be talked about, but the problem with that is it creates a divide. I mean, it just does. It creates a divide. I mean, you have a situation where things do get out. I mean, somebody gonna open their mouth. Somebody gonna say something at some point, and you have a situation now where it's like, okay, well, so why didn't I know? Why didn't anybody tell me? Why wasn't I included? It's just, and it breeds resentment and hurt feelings. You know what I'm saying? And who wants that? Who wants that? And it gets to a place where family can't even come together. We don't even get together as a family like we used to anymore. You know what I mean? You don't see, unless someone has passed away, unfortunately. Who wants that? You know, I know we're all busy, and I know that life be lifing. I mean, like, it's like it's never ending. But trying to get back to that connectedness, trying to get back to feeling like family again, because you can drift apart so far that you don't even feel like family. Like, that's your family, that's your sister, brother, mom, dad, whatever, cousins, grandparents, whatever, that, but it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like home. So to feel secure in the family dynamic, the love got to be there, and it's got to be genuine, and it's got to be unconditional. Transparency got to be there. Honesty. You know what I'm saying? Just, being that support that you're going to need sometimes. Nobody can do everything alone. Nobody can make it through life just isolated. And sometimes your family is all you have. I mean, like, friends may fall by the wayside. You may be single, no spouse, no boyfriend, no girlfriend. If you don't have children yet, I mean, who else would you have besides your family? And you should have your family. You know what I mean? I don't get this whole, dynamic of family not treating each other like family. I don't like it. And I feel like to be secure as a person, you have to have certain things in your life. And when it comes to your family dynamic, the love and transparency got to be there. The last thing that I feel must be there is grace. Grace. Because nobody's perfect. We make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? We say things, we do things that aren't becoming. And you have to give people grace sometimes. I mean, like, I ain't saying just be a doormat. I ain't saying just let, whatever slide. That's not what I'm saying. But if someone is genuinely, like, sorry, if they have come to you and say, you know what, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean it. I didn't know, whatever. And you see that there is a genuineness in the sentiment, give them grace. You know what I'm saying? Give them grace. Like, forgive them. Even though it may be hard, and I ain't saying forgive everything. You know what I'm saying? You determine what you can and can't forgive. Because I feel like some things are just beyond what I'm talking about, right? But if you guys had a verbal, altercation, you had a misunderstanding, I mean, like, grace is needed, because if you were offensive to someone in your family and you are truly sorry, you want grace, you want forgiveness, you want another chance to, make it right. We have to give that to each other, y'all. I mean, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to fight with your family. You don't. You may feel justified in that moment, but when it's all over and you look back, you'll be like, dang, I wish I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had done differently, And at the very least, you got to think about, the days aren't promised to us. You never want it to be a situation where your last interaction with a family member is a fight. Like, that's the worst thing ever. A fight. And then boom, they gone. And you can't make it right. And you can't do anything about it. You just, live with that grief. You know what I'm saying? You live with dang, my last conversation with them was a fight. It was things I said that I didn't mean. It was things I wish I could take back. So, you know, tell me what y'all think. I mean, I know that there's different situations. I know that there's different family dynamics. I know that, everybody who is in your family isn't may not be blood, but in my opinion, it's the love that make you family. I mean, you can be related, but it's the love that make you family. Period. So, you know, just wanted to touch on the different types of relationships in our lives and just try to get some clarity on, what we need to feel secure, safe. It's very important, y'all. It's so important that we tap into these things, that we talk about them. We talk because, everybody doesn't feel comfortable talking. And we want to try to break that up. We want to try to little bit by little bit just take our power in communication and use it effectively and constructively. So that's all I got today, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Do all the good things. I'll see y'all in the next video. Love you.